Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. Just a joy to have all of you here this morning. A couple of things before we begin today. First of all, every Sunday morning before our Sunday service, I usually sit for at least a half an hour and just focus on the Creator's love. The Creator's love is really the energy that we exist in, even though sometimes we're unaware of it, just like fish perhaps might be unaware of the water and the sea. But truly, it's the energy we exist in, our Creator's love. And more than anything else, I hope that that's what you're feeling this morning, as I desire to share that with you, our Creator's love. A few other things before we begin as well. First of all, if you're able to join us, I'd like to welcome you to the New Earth. That'll be tonight from 6 to 7:30 p.m. with Eckhart Tully. And then Monday evening, we'll be doing our spiritual healing or spiritual activation, as we've been calling it. And particularly this Monday, we'll be inviting you to bring your intention for the spiritual healing. A couple of other things. On New Year's Eve, we made a series of resolutions, and I just want to call your attention to how are you doing with those resolutions? Were you able to kind of see things through, bringing those resolutions to fruition, at least for the first month and a half in 2022? I encourage you maybe to simply revisit them and see perhaps the treasure that's waiting for you in bringing them forth. And then lastly, I am so very pleased with our Cosmic Citizens Committee. You will have received yesterday our fourth quarterly report. And our committee is just doing such a wonderful job of coming together, sharing information with each other, and then sharing information with all of you. I hope you'll take the time to read the report and be edified by it, as certainly I think all of us are learning to understand how members are helping each other in our growth. Let's begin. My dear friends, my presumption, actually my feeling, is that you are beginning to sense your own growth in spiritual awareness. I feel that you're probably saying to yourself, I am really growing spiritually. I'm even surprised that I am saying that I am really growing spiritually. It's truly as though we are realizing, after years of growing in our sense of self, that we really are spiritual beings. In fact, we are conscious, non-physical, spiritual beings within a body. That the inner you, the inner me, is the conscious awareness from which your decisions are now made. And you are more and more confident in your spiritual decision making because, quite frankly, it's giving all of us much better results. In a nutshell, life is working better for us when we begin from the inside out, from the spiritual to the external worldly expression. It is precisely this inner confidence that I want to explore in this week's teaching entitled Self-Love, the Acceptance of Your Dignity. I will begin with one of my favorite quotes from Alexander Pope, review a little bit from last week's teaching, and then proceed to the acceptance of your dignity. The acceptance of your dignity with three of its primary characteristics. First, the quote from Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope is famous for many sayings such as, "Be not the first by whom the new is tried, nor yet the last to lay the old aside." Good advice. He also said, blessed is the person who expects nothing, for he shall never be disappointed. Again, one of my favorite quotes. But my most favorite quote is the following from Alexander Pope. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep where taste not the Pierian spring. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring. You probably have heard the first part of the saying many times. A little learning is a dangerous thing, but might be unfamiliar with the last part, especially the word Pierian. The Pierian spring was literally a spring of water in ancient Macedonia, Greece, which was considered to be a source of knowledge for all who drank from it. Now, I'm going to change the word Pierian to the word spiritual, which is very much the sense of the word, at least as I understand it, seeing that Pierian is a source of knowledge. So now I'm going to change that word Pierian to spiritual, and it reads this way. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the spiritual spring. A little learning is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the spiritual spring. Thus, what I want to say to you is that you have drunk deeply from the spiritual spring. You have drunk deeply from the spiritual spring. In contrast, some people just gargle. Some people just gargle at the spiritual spring. But you have drunk deeply. You know that you are a spiritual being. In contrast, others who just gargle still see themselves as simply human beings under the grip of the body and their worldly experiences. But not you, not you. You have drunk deeply with the understanding that you are a spiritual being, bringing awareness to the planet. In contrast to others who just gargle at the fountain of spiritual knowledge, they still feel so separated, not only from their spiritual centers, but also from the loving God by focusing too much on sinfulness and unworthiness. But not you, not you. You have drunk deeply and fully realize your oneness with the God Spirit and your eagerness to further explore the energies of creation, creating the good, the beautiful, and the holy. You have drunk deeply of the spiritual spring. Bravo, bravo to you. Now, a brief review from last week's teaching. We focused on our ability to drink deeply at the spring of spiritual wisdom in last week's teaching, when we focus on our origin from the God Spirit, and especially our ongoing connection daily with the God Spirit in our lives, wherein you and I have made the God Spirit not only our divine companion, but also, I think that you and I have accepted the God Spirit as our best friend, as our best friend. Did you ever think you would say that the God Spirit is your best friend? The one that you spend an awful lot of time with during the course of a day. The one you take with you wherever you go. And especially the one that you are bringing everyone to. Especially the one that you are bringing everyone to. You are sharing your best friend with everyone, for you understand that your best friend really is the best friend of everyone, when and if they decide to drink deeply of the spiritual spring. Because you have drunk deeply at the spring of spiritual knowledge, may I now suggest to you that you are ready to accept something that has been a long time in coming that now is here. You are accepting your dignity as a child of God consciously. You are accepting your dignity as a child of God consciously. Thus, what I suggest to you that the acceptance of this dignity means that you are taking responsibility for yourself in these three particular areas. You might want to take some notes. This will be fun. First, you are beginning to accept the fact, not just of your human ancestry, but rather you understand that you're a spiritual being and you are accepting your spiritual ancestry. You are accepting your spiritual ancestry. You are accepting the fact that you are an eternal child of the God Spirit. And you are becoming more and more comfortable in knowing that, well, this is who you are. And as such, that you are taking full responsibility, happily, full responsibility for yourself and for your decisions. You realize that you are creating consciously your reality. You no longer feel that you have to ask permission from anyone. You no longer have to seek approval from someone else. You feel quite comfortable to make your own decisions because you have learned to listen to your own intuitive guidance. Now, please listen carefully. Because you have aligned your soul spirit with the God Spirit, you are confident of the love of God that you have within your spiritual center. And you now act from this conscious love of God, bringing heaven to earth. You are moving into self-love, love of yourself, because not only do you feel loved by the God Spirit, this is the best, but most of all, you feel loving from the God Spirit. You feel loving consciously from the God Spirit. It's the way we operate now in the world. This feeling of self-love is not the selfish love of the ego, but rather a result of you having drunk deeply from that spiritual spring. You've drunk deeply. You like how you feel. You like loving others. You feel confident that your living presence at the very center of your being is guiding you. You feel whole and complete. And you have learned to do the business of life in spiritual currency. You do the business of life in spiritual coin, not just the worldly currency of dollars and cents, but truly in that spiritual currency of a discerning love. Wow. Wow. What an advancement. And you realize that this growth of yours, while very satisfying at the moment, is simply your present step in an ongoing journey of spiritual expansion. Just a first step with so much more to come. All of this has occurred because you have accepted your dignity as a soul spirit, because you have drunk deeply from the spiritual spring. Be proud of your accomplishments. You've worked hard to achieve this growth. The second practical concern of accepting this dignity of being in union with the God Spirit, your best friend. You are now making tremendous advancements in releasing the old habits that no longer serve you. Now, there are 3 such releases, 3, not just one, that I want to share with you that I think are relevant for us to consider. Each one of them giving us a higher level of awareness. First of all, the one you know. You have released much of the old stuff that Jim Self refers to as baggage. Baggage. When he says that you can't take your baggage with you. But here's the advancement you've made. You no longer want to take your baggage with you. You see your baggage as baggage. You recognize that much of what you have gravitated to in the past no longer fits your dignity as a soul spirit. Not that it's been bad. It's just not where you are anymore. You don't want just to become a better old you. You don't want people to say, oh, it's so nice to see you back to your old self. Ugh, ugh. You're done with your old self, the old stuff, the old ways that people have seen you as. You are ready to move forward in a very clear act of loving everyone and everything. You have changed. You have grown beyond the old you. The second point of releasing. Not only are you releasing your old baggage, but you are also moving beyond your old comfort zones. You're moving beyond your old complacencies that have imprisoned you. You are beginning to love more, to put yourself into newer situations because you are more confident in the love within you as your guide. It's not that you are risking, but rather you are confidently being guided from your spiritual center. And with this guidance, you begin to feel the empowerment that comes with it. There's such a difference between being risky and not sure and being guided and empowered. You know the difference, and you're choosing accordingly. And oh, doesn't it feel quite just wonderful to move beyond the imprisonments of your own making, the own complacencies that just no longer are there to stop you anymore, because you have accepted the dignity of your child of Godness with the confidence that accompanies it, because you have drunk deeply of the spiritual spring. Which now brings me to the third point of releasing, probably my favorite. You now realize that you can achieve as much as you are willing to believe. I'll say it again. You now realize that you can achieve as much as you are willing to believe. It's not just moving beyond your own comfort zones, but now you realize that there is something within you that is attracting you, something within you that is moving you. There is this wonderful desire within us to know more and to do more, because you feel that there is more within you. There is now that attraction within you to grow that perhaps you have never felt before. You're just attracted to everything spiritual, not religious, spiritual, being in loving embrace with oneness with everyone. It's like you can't get enough of this spiritual desire within you. It seems to have a force moving you all of its own. It's kind of like going home every day and bringing everyone with you to your home. Many of you know what I'm speaking about. You are elevating. You can't help but smile. You can't help being happy. Which now brings me to the third major point. I'm going to call this third major point the charism of success. The charism of success. Let me explain. In the everyday world, we often acknowledge people to seem to have that certain something, that charism of success. Could be a teacher in a classroom. They're just really good. Or a surgeon in an operating room. They just have the feel. Or a parent in a family. They just have that certain something that makes them one who has achieved an outstanding success in their life. I believe that you are now doing the same. I believe that you are exhibiting that special, certain something, that charism of success in being not just a nice human being, but rather you have that charism, that certain something of being in touch with the greatest reality of life, the God Spirit. I believe that that's the certain something, that charism of success that you have now achieved in your life. Because you have accepted your dignity as being a child of the God Spirit, because you have taken the time to drink deeply from the spiritual spring. You've done this. You have become the joyous model for all humanity. Truly understand that what you have, that certain something, that charism, is what everyone is seeking. You have become charismatic. May you share your abundance. In conclusion, many people say that the energy of awareness is speeding up. What I would probably say is that you are speeding up. You're the one speeding up. You are accepting your dignity as a child of the God Spirit. You are exhibiting that certain something that is so attractive, that charism of life, because you have taken the time to drink deeply from the spiritual spring. My dear, happy fellow souls, the bus is on the road. The bus is on the road. Let me now take you into meditation, and what a joy it is to do so. So let us begin as we normally do by simply focusing on the breath. Never, never doubting that the breath is the pathway to release any tension in the body, reduce your mind chatter, but most of all, to bring your soul, the inner you, to the fore. Please begin. Now, as you place your hand over your sternum, top of your sternum, and acknowledge your soul space within yourself, your soul presence, the inner you. Would you notice how the feeling of the breath coming in and your soul space connect to each other? You begin to feel the breath. For in the breath comes in more than just air for the body. What also enters is the life force that continues to animate the soul, the breath of life. You, consciously. Just take a moment with that. You, the breath of life, conscious. You might want to say to yourself, well, what am I conscious of? Good question. A few things. The first one is that, well, you have a body. You might want to just tap your leg and say, oh yeah, there's the body. I got it. You got a mind. Yep, got one of those. But they are not you. They are vehicles of expression, your body and your mind. You need them to express in the world that you are the inner you. You are your conscious soul. That would be a big enough step for most people to realize that they are not simply a body with a mind, but rather an inner soul, a spiritual soul that has a mind and a body. That would be enough for a lot of people, but not for you. You have drunk more deeply. Of the spiritual spring. You are aware of a much greater realm that we call spirit. It is from this greater realm that you take your principles and values. Values such as love and oneness. Principles like the law of attraction and the law of allowing. The realm of spirit is so far beyond the attempts of wisdom of the everyday world. True, you don't want to be dumb about the everyday things, but you don't want to be oblivious to the greater realm of spirit from which you consciously glean your principles and values. You have not just gargled, you have drunk deeply from the spiritual spring. There's a little more. Yes, you do have that body and mind, but you are a soul being. You are a soul spirit being. And you are also connected to the all that is. Your primary wisdom of life is you are consciously connected right now. You are consciously connected to the God Spirit. You have not left your source. Sit for a moment. Feel that connection consciously. The God Spirit has become your best friend. You bring your best friend with you everywhere. It's your companion in life. So may I suggest to you that because the God Spirit, as you, is your best friend, that's why you have that certain something. You just have that certain something. You have that charism. That everyone is looking for. You are a conscious gift to the world. You are a radiant soul. Because you have drunk deeply at the conscious spiritual spring. Let's just happily share this with each other and all others. Our bus is on the road.
sets, faith abounds, and love abides. The light shines bright to illumine love without, love within. I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee. I honor thee. Namaste. I honor thee. When you are where you need to be, within that space, I honor thee. Seen through eyes of illusion, seen through spirit, you are one. I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. I honor thee, I honor thee, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor thee. Namaste, I honor
Little learning is a dangerous thing. I'm so grateful that we are drinking more and more deeply of the spiritual spring. Happy to be with you. Let's be joyous today. Have fun. Brighten up the world. Sparkle, 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 like the children of the divine that we are. Namaste.